Will we all please rise and begin the meeting with the prayer? Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Can we all please salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call a roll?
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Here.
Mayor Elliott.
Here.
Counsel Kennedy.
Here.
Counsel Leahy. Here. Counsel Martin.
Here.
Counsel Mercia.
Here.
Counsel Milanazzo.
Here.
Counsel Rourke.
Here.
9 present.
Madam President, before we begin the meeting, I'd like to recognize Council Milanazzo for a moment of silence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chambers for Charles Chuck Tupin, who passed away about 10 days ago at the young age, really, of 63. He was a local business person and a very devoted family man. He leaves behind his wife, Denise, and his 3 children, Danielle, Sarah, and Brian. And Chuck Tupin is also the brother-in-law of Paul Belay, one of our local neighborhood leaders. And he was very much involved in a number of countless acts of kindness and generosity that really went unnoticed, because that's just the type of person that Chuck Tupin was. So I'd like my colleagues to rise in a moment of silence in darkened chambers in memory of Chuck Tupin. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Hold on, members. Council Leahy.
Thank you. I'd also like to offer a moment of silence for Elaine Keefe, wife of former officer William Keefe, and mother of Patrolman Brian Keefe. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Anyone else? Could we all please rise for a moment of silence with darkened chambers? May they rest in peace. Chair would now like to recognize Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could ask for a suspension of the rules to talk about an event that took place this weekend in Centerville.
Motion to suspend the rules. The purpose is to talk about an event that took place in Centerville by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milanazzo. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. And the opposed, that motion carries. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This past Saturday, October 18th, a great event took place in the city. In fact, it was in Centerville. Some people may not give a second thought to it, but people who love our city will view it as a big happening. It was Centerville Pride. It was their fall cleanup, and it showed a display of pride unlike something I have ever seen. And it was a beautification, and what made it so spectacular was the groups that came together to make this event even more successful. The Centerville Neighborhood Action Group, Friends of Gage Field, Friends of McDermott Reservoir, the ROTC, Lowell High School, under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Pete D'Amico, Technical Sergeant Smith, State Representative Thomas Golden, our Mayor Rodney Elliott, the City of Lowell DPW and the crew, Lowell Parks and Recreation Tom Belgard and his crew, Thad King, who's here today with the principal of the Robinson School participating along with 6 of his ambassador students from the 7th and 8th grades. The Middlesex County Sheriff's Office CWP Community Work Program under the leadership of Chris Green and crew. They gave 2 days to First Street Corridor from Gilbicki's Garage to the wastewater treatment plant. As you can see, the pictures speaks 1,000 words. Sponsors included Coca-Cola, Trinity EMS, Lowell Police Patrol, DPW, and the Parks Department. The beautification projects included Comstock and Orange Bows all along Bridge Street, the business district, flowers planted, painted rails in the fence at the bus stop, painted fire hydrants, our youth sweeping, painting, raking islands such as the Richards Family Island, brush cleaned up, and land beautification at the Sabre Farmer Island on the VFW highway with an unveiling of a sign that displayed the Centerville pride that was quite evident all day. The sign said, "Run with it," and showed 3 stick figure people running with the dog in the lead. It's fair to say that other neighborhoods have cleanups as well, and they are to be congratulated and thanked also. I was so impressed to see such an outpouring of support for a neighborhood that at times feel neglected. This weekend, you were not neglected, and we join you in your pride. As many of you are here this evening, and the City Council would like to say, congratulations, job well done. All too often, we have film crews and newspapers coming up to our city with shots fired and the bad youth of our city. I think it's time to say that it isn't just about that. You won't see them coming up here in droves as you saw Saturday, the beautification that took place and the pride and love for the city. And who is responsible? The youth of our city. So today, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing them to come up here. This is what Lowell is truly, really all about, and we congratulate each and every one of you. So I want to join my colleagues in giving them all a round of applause right here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Manager, do you want to add anything to that?
I just wanted to, you're 100% correct, and I really want to give a special thanks to Tom Belgard. He came up with the idea of the Comstocks, and I drove over there yesterday, and it looks absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
And we're going to move into other neighborhoods and try and do the same thing. But I must say, I see the picture of State Rep Tommy Golden in that too-tight T-shirt. Maybe he should get in some more cleanups. But everybody did a great job, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
If I could, it was a fun day. You know, I showed up, I grabbed a broom, and I worked with quite a few of the cadets, as well as students from the Robinson School and folks from, from the neighborhood organization, Centerville Neighborhood Action Group. It was inspiring to be there. It was a nice day, and it just goes to show you when you have a lot of hands, a lot of young, energetic, young students, youngsters, what you can accomplish. And it didn't take all day, but the impact was dramatic. It caught the attention certainly of people driving through, in and out, as well as people in the neighborhood asking, what are you doing, but thanking us as well. So to my team, where was my team that we swept and we picked up? Yep, there you are. We had some fun. We have some good pictures too, don't we? But thank you. And if we could, Headmaster Martin, thank you for your support. And if we could just have Colonel, Sergeant, it was a great day. If you could say a few words. I'm not sure if Principal Tan is here from
Yes, he's
Principal.
here.
You want to come up and say a few words? Because they had the arduous task of working with Representative Golden and kind of carrying his load. So we'll hear from you.
Sir, if I may,
Colonel.
from the RTC perspective, first of all, one of our major goals is community involvement from our students. Our mission is to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and community. And I think Saturday's event was special in the fact that they got to work with state representatives, city leadership, organizations from the college, from middle schools, and all over the city. And they saw how you can make a big difference in a small way and be part of something very special and have a good time doing it. And this represents less than 10% of our cadet corps here tonight. This is 40 of our over 400, and we had over 100 there. And these events are special, and we hope to take part in them in the future as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Colonel.
I'm Thad King. I'm the principal at the Robinson. So first, thanks for having us here tonight. We really appreciate it. But it was really nice for us. The Centerville Neighborhood Action Group has actually helped the Robinson out quite a bit this year and done a cleanup at the Robinson and that type of thing. So it was really nice to have the opportunity to give back a little bit to the community because they've done so much for us. So we're just here to say thank you and appreciate being here tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Principal. Okay. Anyone else want to say a few words? Cadets? No? Okay, well, yes, let's recognize the neighborhood leaders. They had wonderful costumes. Heidi Miller, Anne Marie, you want to come in?
And Priscilla Barry, who's very sick because she works so hard.
Okay.
Patrick Farmer is hiding behind the cadets.
Come on, Anne Marie, come on up to the microphone. You are no stranger, nor are you shy.
I'm Anne Marie Page from 26 Fremont Street. I sit on the board at the Centerville Neighborhood Action Group, and I think I'm their senior group or something. But anyways, Patrick and Amy are hiding behind here.
Come on
Oh,
up
there
here,
they
Patrick
are.
and Amy. Come on up.
Yeah, Patrick and Amy, right, and they are volunteers like you've never seen. From day one, the first time Centerville said we need a volunteer, they jumped on board.
Right.
And they have many, many projects. And that big triangle island, where'd you go? Has been Amy's project for many years. Heidi Miller is an artist and has helped us all to be creative. I'm like a Martha Stewart dropout. So Pat Ducharme, who knows where anything and everything is in Centerville, and Pat Ducharme and I guess it's because of our seniority, we were the water boys. But we had wonderful people from Gage, Melissa Speed, and Priscilla Barry works so hard. She's like a Martha Stewart person. And she works so hard, but she worked a little too hard, so she's home sick in bed watching us. But it was a wonderful crew, and it was a group effort. And I was amazed at not only all their energy, but they smiled all day long. They smiled all day long. So if this is our future, we're in good shape. We're in good shape. Yeah. So we'll see this get contagious and run across the city.
We hope so.
Thank you so much.
We thank you so much for
Thank you.
what you did.
My name's Heidi Miller, and I want to say a special thanks for Nancy Lamache and her husband, Leo Lamache. They built the stick figures for us and painted them with the sign, Centerville Pride, Run With It. It was an idea that we had leaving the Robinson School after we did a huge cleanup, and we called ourselves Centerville Pride because it was a large group of people that came together to make all these projects happen. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And Headmaster Brian Martin is here as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
do you want to come up, Mr. Headmaster?
I'm just here to cheer for the students and all the volunteers, actually. They did terrific, and I can't say enough about the ROTC program at the high school. They're reflective of the rest of the student population, and we thank you for the recognition. They're well-deserved, and Anne Marie Page and all of the neighbors, they've been terrific years and years and years. This just shows you that they can sustain something, which I think is pretty special for that neighborhood. So thank you for the recognition for our kids.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Headmaster.
Very good.
Give yourselves one more round of applause, Joe. Thank you very much. You make us proud.
Right, face, forward, arch.
Rub it in, rub it in. That's wonderful. Great job. Okay, darling.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
That's an impressive way to start a meeting, I tell you.
That's
Thank you,
right,
Colin.
thank you.
If I could just remind members, this week, it's the second week that we are broadcasting with the closed caption, and it's very important that we speak, all of us speak right into the mic, so they'll be able to pick up all of the words and then be able to transmit in closed caption. Moving on to the next item, first item on the mayor's business is a citation to Kathy Tetro. She's the owner and operator of the City Hall Snack Bar, and we would like to recognize you. If you could come up to the podium, Kathy. On behalf of the city, I've eaten at the snack shack for a few times, and it's been wonderful. So we wanted to recognize you for your efforts in providing a service to the City Hall employees and even people outside the city. So on behalf of my colleagues in government, we have a citation for you. And be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby welcomes another new business. You're another new business in the city, City Hall Coffee and More, and its owner, Kathy May Tetro, as a new business to make its home inside City Hall. The city is very happy that you have won the bid through the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind to take over the snack bar inside City Hall. After years of working in the food industry, your dream has come true here in the City of Lowell. Your extensive menu includes a full breakfast, which is served all day, a lunch menu, which includes sandwiches, soup, salads, and daily specials. Running your own business gives you the freedom of being creative, which keeps customers coming back for more. As a sole proprietor, you work alone, which allows you to keep prices low. The entire City of Lowell extends its deepest wishes to City Hall Coffee and More for continued success with your new business as you cater to all. Given on this 21st day of October, on behalf of all my colleagues in government, by myself, Rodney M. Elliott, the mayor, congratulations, Kathy.
Thank you so very much. When I got the email and it said citation, I thought I was kind of in trouble, going to be getting a ticket. But it turned out to be much better. And I just so appreciate the hospitality and the welcoming, and you all make me feel right at home. In fact, I am here more than my home, but that's a good thing. So thank you. I am greatly honored. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item, we have a proclamation to Jumpstart in recognition of Jumpstart's Read for the Record Day, which we did today. Is Melissa here? Melissa Chandade, and can you please come on up with your Jumpstart core? So it was a nice event today where we read to the youngsters and participated in Jumpstart. And on behalf of members of the City Council and the City Administration and the people of the City of Lowell, we have a proclamation for you. And if I could, I'd like to read it. City of Lowell, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, by myself, Rodney M. Elliott, the mayor, a proclamation. Whereas Jumpstart, a national early education organization, is working to ensure that all children in America enter kindergarten prepared to succeed. Year-round, Jumpstart recruits and trains college students and community volunteers to deliver a high-quality education curriculum to preschool children living in low-income neighborhoods, helping children to develop the key language and literacy skills they need to succeed in school and life. And whereas in 1993, Jumpstart has trained nearly 36,000 college students and community volunteers to transform the lives of more than 76,000 preschool children nationwide. Jumpstart's Read for the Record is a national campaign where millions of Americans come together to celebrate literacy. The goals of the campaign are to raise national awareness and to support Jumpstart's early education programs in preschool and low-income neighborhood nationwide through donations and sponsorships, and celebrate the commencement of Jumpstart program's year. And whereas on October 21st, 2014 would be an appropriate date to designate as Jumpstart's Read for the Record Day, because it is the date Jumpstart aims to set the world record for the longest shared reading experience. Jumpstart hopes to engage over 2.4 million adults and children nationwide in reading, as we did today, Bunny Cakes by Rosemary Wells during this record-breaking celebration of reading and service in all Massachusetts preschool children. Now, therefore, I, Rodney M. Elliott, Mayor of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim today Tuesday, October 21st, 2014, as Jumpstart's Read for the Record Day, and we urge all citizens in Lowell to take part. Congratulations, a wonderful event. We thank you and students from UMass Lowell and Middlesex Community College for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So again, I just want to thank Mayor Elliott for coming to our event today at the library to share in breaking the world record today. Hopefully we'll get the numbers in soon. And in Lowell alone, between UMass Lowell and Middlesex, there are 84 college students doing over 300 hours of service this year in the local preschools. They go in weekly and they teach the children skills that they need to be successful in kindergarten and beyond. We know that being a college student isn't always easy, so for them to give up so much of their time to help better the youth in Lowell is just amazing. And these are some of the students. Some of them are in class tonight, so they weren't able to come, and some of them were at the event today helping us break the record. So thank you on behalf of Jumpstart for issuing this proclamation and supporting Jumpstart's efforts. And we would invite all of you to come see a session one day at a preschool and see the amazing work that these college students are doing. So thank you.
We have one more proclamation tonight that we would like to issue in recognition of Lead Poisoning Prevention Week. Tony Snow will receive it. She is the program manager for the program. So on behalf of the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, by myself, Rodney M. Elliott, and along with my colleagues in government, is a proclamation. Whereas nearly 500,000 children living in the United States have elevated blood lead levels that may cause significant damage to their health and their ability to learn. And whereas the City of Lowell is one of 9 communities in Massachusetts considered to be high risk for childhood lead poisoning, and whereas the City of Lowell acknowledges the importance of preventing childhood lead poisoning through its Lead-Safe Lowell abatement program. Now therefore, I, Rodney M. Elliott, Mayor of the City of Lowell, do hereby proclaim the week of October 19th through the 25th as Lead Poisoning Prevention Week in the City of Lowell, and we urge all citizens to join together to raise awareness of childhood lead poisoning and prevention through professional lead abatement program, given on this 21st day of October 2014 by myself, Rodney M. Elliott, Mayor of the City of Lowell. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Elliott, and thank you, council members, for helping us promote the prevention of childhood lead poisoning. We are funded by a HUD grant, $2.5 million to do this work, and it's a 3-year program, and we'll, during this time, the grant ends August of 2016, and at that time, we will have de-leaded 125 units in the City of Lowell. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's important work, and we appreciate getting the grant again after it lapsed a little bit. So congratulations to DPD and to you, Ms. Snow, for getting funds back in the city to continue this program. You're welcome. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. We have the city clerk. We have the minutes of the city council meeting of October 14th. We have minutes of the downtown redevelopment subcommittee of October 14th. We have the minutes from Education Partnerships Subcommittee that was held on October 7th. And we have minutes from the City Council special meeting October 7th, all for acceptance. Motion to approve by Councilor Samara, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? That motion passes. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While we're under the minutes of the city clerk's portion of the agenda to approve the minutes, through you to the city clerk who works for the city council, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask the city clerk, Michael Geary, there are people that are concerned about our keeping of the minutes of the meetings. Let's just say that, for example, we went into executive session, and I know as a city councilor that you, Michael Geary, do keep the minutes of those meetings. What is the procedure about that? Like, what is that all about? You keep those minutes of the meeting in a special place, and they're released how? Fill us in as to the proper procedure as to our keeping those minutes of the meeting in executive session. I know that, and the public knows, and it's transparent, that we accept the minutes every week from the previous week, and we see that in our packet. But how does that transpire in executive session, Mr. City Clerk?
Sure, Counselor, through you, to you through the mayor. I keep every set of minutes from executive sessions. What usually happens is I take notes in that session, and after the session, I compile those notes into the appropriate form. I keep that in a secure position until the body wants them to be released. The proper procedure to release them is to go back into the executive session. I will provide you at that point with the minutes you have indicated that you wish to have released for your review, and if it's at the will of the council, the matter can be taken up and a vote could be made to release those records, and if such vote is taken to release, I will make them available to the public. They are garnered, and they are kept in a secure environment until they are released by the body.
And so then when we go back into executive session and we look at what should be released, then where do you keep them? Does that come before the city council again?
The process to it, I would make them available perhaps on my webpage, or I can make. They're not. I don't think we have the ability to set them up into our agenda.net program. I know that we don't, but I could PDF them and make it available on a link from my page on our website. I don't think that would be an issue. Or if there's an interest in, call my office and I'll provide you a copy. No problem.
So would you then compile a list of all the minutes of the meetings for us to go back into executive session at one point and say, you can release this, there's no more litigation here, you can release it, and then would it then be on the city council agenda for acceptance? How would that be?
It could be accepted to release them within the session, and I can make a note of that as such, or it can be brought back onto the council, to the council agenda under my business, and I can just release of the executive session minutes, whatever date that may be.
I know that there's many pending litigations, and we would not want to release that, but there's some that could be released, and so I'm just wanting to know how the procedure is, and you've answered that. So we don't have anything to hide, but I know that there are times when we can't release it, and I don't want people to think that we're hiding anything. We're not, but I just thought that people were asking, what is the procedure? So you just explained it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Councilor.
Thank you. Moving on, any further discussion? No, we already accepted the minutes, so moving on to, it is 7 o'clock. We have public hearings advertised. We have a utility public hearing advertised for 7 p.m. So this is for National Grid. It is a request for replacement of gas main on Appleton Street. I will now open up that portion of the hearing for those wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Those wishing to speak in favor.
Thank you. Mike Floyd, representing National Grid. Walked this job with one of the city engineers, and we decided it was best, due to the number of utilities on the side of the street where our gas main is presently located, to relocate it to the opposite side of the street on the northerly side of Appleton Street. And this is to replace a 1908 and 1917 gas mains, to update them to where we are today, the plastic gas mains.
Did you say 1908?
1908 and 1917, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions? No? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition, seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed as well. What is the wish of the body? Entertain a motion to refer to the wire inspector for a report and recommendation by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, that motion carries. That concludes the utility public hearing section. Moving on to communications from the city manager, we have motion and responses, both A and B. Councilor Milanazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me begin by thanking the administration for the response on the Father Morissette bike lanes. What I'd like to do is move that report be referred to the Transportation Subcommittee, which is made up of myself, Councilor Martin, and Councilor Leahy, for a report and recommendation back to the council.
Motion by Councilor Milanazzo, second by Councilor Mercier, to refer that report to the Transportation Subcommittee for discussion, report, and recommendation back to the City Council. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, that motion carries. Further discussions, questions on communications from the City Manager? Councilor Milanazzo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item B, where we're talking about the police station and putting an RFP, which is fine, but it talks about the $200,000 was found or contained in the FY14 capital budget. Is that correct, or is it the FY15 capital budget?
Mr. Manager?
It's the 2014.
It is the 2014. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. For discussion, Councilor Kennedy?
Yes, regarding the proposed ordinance, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, regarding the proposed ordinance, I don't believe that the proposed ordinance indicates the size of the sandwich board signs. Does it? Did I miss that somewhere? I think instead what it does is
Councilor, that's just under a separate section. That's under communications. Right.
This is a communication too, right?
That's, we have it just separated by 4.2. We're still under 4.1. We can just accept.
Okay, I'll wait then.
Okay. If any other further discussions on these other two responses, communications to the city manager? If not, entertain a motion by Councilor, move to approve by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, that motion carries. We now move on to 4.2. It's a communication. It's a draft ordinance, sidewalk and/or sandwich boards. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager. I believe the ordinance doesn't stipulate exactly what the limits are on the size of the sign. And so it leaves it up to the historic board and the DPD. I think that maybe part of the problem to begin with was that it's left up to the historic board and the DPD, and that it might be, everybody might be better served if it was, if the ordinance was explicit as to the size that was allowed, so that you don't have signs that are going to be too big. But on the other hand, it just would be good for people to know that, and I think that the more that we can put into the ordinance, the better off we are, without leaving it to boards to make a decision that might be sometimes that some businesses might see as being unfair.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Council. That's an excellent point. And the reason we did this is the first step in the process, is we knew that this was a very important issue for the City Council to rectify as soon as possible. So we wanted to draft an ordinance. As you can see, we've sent it to the Historic Board for their comments. We've already gotten some comments, and obviously we're looking for comments from the City Council. And size of the sandwich board is an excellent suggestion. Any other suggestions that the Council would have, we'll incorporate it into the ordinance.
Thank you, Council. Further, Councilor Samaras? And then
Thank you,
Councilor
Mayor
Rowe.
Elliott. Regarding the sign size, I do believe that the Historic Commission has offered several sizes. They've determined what would meet safety standards on our downtown sidewalks. I think the issue is the City of Lowell and the Historic Board coming together to ensure that this ordinance fulfills all the requirements. I would also, though, like to know why we have that it's a temporary basis between April 1st and October 31st. Is that because of weather?
Madam Solicitor?
Thank you. Primarily, the ordinance was designed to essentially mirror what is already in effect with respect to sidewalk seating. And at a certain time of the year, the sidewalks are subject to extreme weather conditions, and that was why it was for a temporary period of time.
Okay.
That could, that's certainly something that we could look at further.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I mean, safety comes first, and I do understand that once the outdoor eating stops because of weather conditions, but many of these businesses, would lose a chance for extra advertisement of what they're doing. And so, I mean, could we put something in like condition based on weather? Because we've had winters where there's absolutely no snow, but once the snow does come and there's ice on the sidewalks, maybe where it could prove to be a danger that we could have it in such form. I don't know. Can you do
Sure.
it that way rather
Absolutely.
than a date?
That's a change we can make, and we could even put a clause in about weather conditions and do it that way.
Okay, I prefer that. Thank you. Also, Mr. Manager, is it possible that the Law Department and the Historic Commission could meet on this and have a quicker resolution to this? Because the only thing I fear is that we go many months before it's resolved, and that's not how we should do things.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. No, we're expediting this process. That's why we've brought this so quickly, and we've already gotten a response from the Historic Board relative to their suggestions, so we will be meeting, incorporating their ideas into it, your ideas, and then bringing forth an ordinance as soon as possible.
Thank you,
Passage.
Mr. Manager. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Rourke, then Council Leahy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I would concur with Councilor Samaras with regards to the dates of when you can use the sandwich boards. If you look at B, it basically says if for any reason it needs to be removed, that the city can do that. So if it's a weather scenario and the boards are temporary, which they are required to do anyway, I don't see a need why the April to October date is even in there. So hopefully that can be taken out altogether. And I think, other than that, it looks pretty good. So thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Leahy?
Thank you. I was just going to add the same thing because some of the businesses downtown, Sweet Lydia's, for example, February 14th might be a big day for them. So I think it'd be important, as long as the sidewalks are clear, that they're able to use the signs. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Leahy. Council Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. I kind of agree. I agree with Councilor Samaras and Council Rourke and Council Leahy. I think that to allow them year-round is a good thing, but I think that maybe during the colder months when there's snow, that maybe the ordinance should say that the sign can be there as long as the sidewalk's cleared. So that should have to be, if you're going to have it there in January or February 14th or whatever, it should be that you make sure that the sidewalk's cleared. So that's just a suggestion.
Thank you, Council. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And the opposed? That motion carries. Next item is 4.3. We have another communication from the city manager. Request approval for out-of-state travel for one individual, Lowell Police Department, and one person from Division of Planning and Development. Move to approve by Councilor Milonazo, second by Councilor Rourke. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Yeas, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 5. We have votes from the city manager. We have a vote to apply, accept, and expend DCR Recreational Trails Grant. Entertain a motion to waive the full reading by Council Leahy, seconded by Council Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, in City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager to apply for, to accept and expend a recreational trails grant from the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation for the construction of the pedestrian bridge number 2A of the Concord River Greenway in the City of Lowell, Massachusetts. Discussion? Move to approve by Council Kennedy, second by Council Belanger. Roll call.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
9 yeas, motion passes. Next item, we have another vote. 5.2. We have a vote to cancel city council meetings of November 11th and November 25th. Entertain a motion to waive, well, I can just read it, it's not that long. Second reading, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Council is a vote to cancel council meetings of November 11th and November 25th pursuant to Rule 5, regular meetings of the rules of the City Council, Plan E, Charter Organization of the City of Lowell. City Council has the authority to cancel meetings, and it is proposed to cancel the meetings dated November 11th and November 25th, 2014, upon a majority vote of the City Council. Be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell by a majority vote as follows, that pursuant to Rule 5 of the rules of the City Council, Plan E, Charter of the organization, the City Council meetings dated November 11th and 25th are hereby canceled. Discussion, move to approve.
So moved.
By Councilor Kennedy, second by Councilor Leahy. Roll call.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next item is 5.3, is a vote to authorize the manager to execute an agreement between the city and the MBTA regarding railroad properties. This is a lengthy document. Entertain a motion by Councilor Belanger, second by Councilor Samaras to waive the full reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. The second reading is by title. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the City of Lowell, in City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement, an access license agreement with the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority so that the city may install a portion of a sewer pipe that will be installed across the properties identified as 1361 Middlesex Street, Lowell, city-owned property, and 900 Broadway Street, Lowell, Massachusetts, beneath a portion of property located between a portion of the Lowell line right-of-way owned by the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority. What is the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Mercia.
I just have two questions. First question, how does the MBTA fit into this equation? Please tell me that.
Mr. Manager?
I just asked Mark Young, who has been handling this, to answer the question.
Mr. Young, in the wastewater treatment plant?
The MBTA owns that railroad line.
They own the railway line.
Yes.
It's not Pan Am?
No. Pan Am has the rights to use the line for their railroad cars, but the actual ownership of the line is MBTA.
Fine. Now, why are we paying $2,822.35?
That's their charge for the type of license agreement that we need for all entities. We've asked them to waive it, and they refuse. We have a similar license agreement and easements in our past CSO projects, and we've always asked them to waive it, but they haven't.
So there are times when they leave, when the creosote railroad ties are left along the way, and we don't, so are we saying that we don't know if it's Pan Am that owns that or MBTA, and yet we fine them profusely and they don't pay any fines? So now they're asking us, we're asking them to waive a fee for us, and they're charging us a fee.
Yes.
So the next time that we fine them, are we going to be able to know if it's the MBTA or Pan Am that we're fining?
Yes, we should be able to tell there's ownership, and I'm not familiar with the issues that you're talking about. I know it's not, doesn't pertain to what we're looking for. So but as far as ownership, yes, it's easy to find.
Well, the next time we have an issue with the railroad, and we go to find them, and we find out it's the MBTA, remind them of the time right here that we're paying $2,000 $822.35. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yes.
You know, they want the money from us. When we find them, we want that money as well. And we're going to remember this. So we're going to hold this very well where we can find it so that we can bring it back to them. I will pay it, and I will vote for that. But when the time comes that we're finding them for something that they're not upfront about, they better pay us as well. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on this? Move to approve. Councilor Leahy, seconded by Councilor Martin. Roll call.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas, motion passes. Orders, next section of the agenda, orders from the city manager, 6.1. We have an order to designate island on Central Street between Green and Williams as Robinson Memorial Island. Motion to waive the full reading. Council Samaras, second by Council Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. Second reading by title, we have Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the City of Lowell in City Council's an order designating the island on Central Street between Green and William Street, located in close proximity to Ray Robinson's Sandwich Shop in the City of Lowell, as Robinson Memorial Island in honor of Ray Robinson and David Robinson. Move to approve by Councilor Mercia. Did you want to speak on it, Councilor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Solicitor O'Connor for bringing this up in a very quick, timely fashion. I appreciate it. Thank you, Christine. Move approval.
Motion to approve by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Milonazo. Roll call.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas, motion passes. Moving on to
As well,
Councilor
as
Mercia.
well, Mr. Mayor, to refer this to the Board of Parks for approval, because they supersede anything that we do here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. Could you just explain what the next steps would be? So this is going to go to the Board of Parks, and then does it go back to the clerk's office or back to us, or just notification of the family? Or?
So we just approved the order to designate this island, so it will, by its own merit, will go to the Board of Parks. They will have a hearing, and they will vote to presumably approve. Following that, it does not have to come back to the city council, but I don't know, Council Mercy, you're going to hold a subcommittee meeting on it, or?
No, because
It's already
we could
been
hold a
approved.
subcommittee meeting, but it doesn't matter. It's, the Board of Parks supersedes it. They meet on the last Wednesday of the month. That's why it was so timely that it should be here, and it is. They're going to meet on October 29th at 6 o'clock, and then I think Tom Bellegarde will be in charge of it and notify the family. If they approve at the Board of Parks, which I'm hoping that they do, there'll be like a spring dedication.
So council, subject to their approval, they'll proceed with the
Right.
preparation and designation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Further discussion? Moving on to the next item of the agenda. We have reports, subcommittee reports. Any subcommittee reports? Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. I just want to announce that next Thursday on the 30th, we're going to hold the neighborhood subcommittee meeting. I chose to have it at the Butler School, anticipating that we get more of a crowd participation from the neighborhoods. I don't have the agenda with me, but it's a few motions on police safety and neighborhood issues that were sent there. So it's next Thursday, 6 o'clock at the Butler School. We're going to offer drinks and pizza, try to get people in early, have a good discussion, and move on from there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Seeing no reports from subcommittee meetings, move on to item 7.1. We have a report from the wire inspector regarding Verizon New England request underground conduit at 33 East Merrimack Street. Entertain a motion to adopt and accept the accompanying report by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Next report under reports, another report from the wire inspector. We have a report regarding National Grid and Verizon New England report, request pole location at corner of Chelmsford and Howard Street. Entertain a motion to adopt the report and recommendation, and by Councilor Samaras, second by Councilor Rourke. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And the opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to petitions, section number 8.1, we have a miscellaneous. Kleber Chavez for Ramona Chavez requests one handicap parking sign at 58 Gates Street. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to amend it to be a 60-day trial, please. Sometimes we do this so we could beat the weather in getting that done.
Motion by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Milanazzo to amend this miscellaneous petition to include a 60-day trial period. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Motion to refer the amended petition to the traffic engineer by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion passes. We have another miscellaneous petition. Transgas Incorporated request additional 24,000 gallons of diesel above ground storage, pardon me, at 87 Industrial Ave East. Entertain a motion to refer this to a public hearing on November 18th, 2014 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Leahy, seconded by Councilor Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, that motion carries as well. Next section of the agenda, we have city council motions. First motion of the evening by Councilor Leahy and Councilor Kennedy. Request city manager update the city council on report of police vehicles dated July 10th, 2013, as well as request superintendent of Lowell Police Department explore the possibility of allowing Lowell officers living in the city to be able to take cruises home after their shifts. No second necessary. Who's going first? Councilor Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a dual motion, but actually the first part of the motion is mine, and the second part of the motion is Councilor Leahy. So I'll just speak to the first part of the motion and leave the second part for Councilor Leahy. Back during when the prior administration was here, I asked for, on a couple of occasions, a report on the number of police vehicles that we have. And when I first asked for the report, I was under the impression that the answer that was going to come back was about 40. But if my memory serves me right, the report showed that actually the police department has something like about 150 vehicles. And most of those vehicles are not police cars. They're not marked police cars. They are instead, the majority of them, a menagerie of all kinds of makes and models that the police department has acquired, I guess, over several years. And so the report that came from the prior administration was always somewhat incomplete in that one of the things that I always wondered was, how did the police department acquire so many different types of vehicles? And why are we keeping them? And so the report should have, and I guess you could begin by taking an update of the report that was done last year, but the report should list the number of vehicles that we have, what they're used for, and maybe also speak to whether or not we should get rid of some of those vehicles, or if we're not getting rid of them, what are we using them for? One of the answers that I got from the police department back at that time was that older cars were being cannibalized to keep the cruisers on the road, the marked police cars on the road. But certainly, that can't be the case in most instances, since a majority of the vehicles are not the same. They're different types of cars. So anyways, if we could get an updated report and a complete report on that, it's something that I would appreciate. I guess I think that, you know, I have an eye towards maybe it would be a good idea to just auction a lot of those vehicles off if we don't need them. And I understand that maybe you need a certain number of vehicles for undercover, but I don't think we need the number that we have accumulated for undercover work at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Leahy, in the second portion.
Yes, thank you. So along with the first part, my thinking was that if we have, if we can get some more cruises out into the neighborhoods, more visibility. So I don't know exactly what the numbers are going to come back, but I don't think it would hurt to let the Lowell police officers, whichever neighborhood they live in, travel back and forth to work with the with the cruises. It's another deterrent. It's I think it's just good. The neighbors feel good seeing that cruiser in the neighborhood. It's on the road an extra, whatever, 20 minutes, or in your case, going over the bridges, an extra hour going home. So I think it only helps. So it's a suggestion that I'd like to have looked into. And I think that if it works, I think we should go ahead with it and try to strategize, I can't speak. So try to make this work so that we get the coverage in the neighborhood. And again, you know, anything we do at this point is only going to help. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Marcia.
I like to see more cruises in the neighborhood, but I have a concern about police bringing the cruises home. You'd have to convince me beyond belief to make that happen. I don't know. I can't wrap my arms around that yet. I'd have to, I don't know. It's like I want to see police on the beat, and I would not be able to distinguish if police, you know, having their dinner at home, or I don't know. I just somehow I can't wrap my hands around that yet. I can't right now.
Okay. Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Milanazo, then Counsel Belanger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll support the motion to gather additional information, but like Councilor Mercier, allowing police officers to take the cruiser home is not something that I'd be comfortable with. I know the canine officer does take the car home because of the dog involved and so forth, and when we actually had a canine, but I don't believe it would be really satisfying. I think what Council Leahy's trying to get to, just having police presence, because I believe these cruisers are 24/7, so there really should be no reason for the cruiser to be parked in someone's home overnight. So again, I'll support the motion for information purposes only, but I'm really having some difficulty agreeing with allowing officers to take home their cruisers. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do support the motion. Now, a couple of points I'd like to make is that if it's not a problem with the maker of the motion, as to the number of vehicles, I recall this specifically in the conversation last year that there was too many, so to speak. So if I could get a little more detailed response as to how many are active, so to speak, and how many for spare parts or whatever you choose to categorize that, but how many are on the street every day, I think that number is very important, and then that may allude to Councilor Leahy's portion of the motion as to, do we have enough to spare to take home? You know, I'm certainly going to keep an open mind. I understand Councilor Milanazo's and Mercier's concerns, absolutely, but I think there's something to be said for a cruiser in the neighborhood sitting in the driveway. I really do believe that makes a presence, but if we have to buy 15 or 20 cruisers to make it work, then I don't think it's going to happen. But if there's no problem with the maker of the motion, I'd like to maybe amend it where it is rather detailed, where we have the number of active cruisers as to the number of inactive, so to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Samaras?
Thank you. I'd like to see in this motion, though, that the chief has asked his opinion as to taking cars home, or, what he would see. I mean, he might determine that certain officers should, or what have you. But the thing is, at this particular point, I'd like to have the professionals render their opinion as to what they would like to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Leahy, and then Counsel Rourke.
Sure. So the motion does say, have the police chief, the LPD, explore the possibility. I think that I just want my colleagues to consider, I understand what they're saying, but what you're saying is you kind of, in a way, you're for the motion. I'd rather have the motion, the cars in the neighborhoods, in the driveways overnight than sitting in a garage collecting dust. So on my way to the arena every week for the UMass hockey games, there's anywhere from 1 to 5 cars in there, and sometimes they don't move. Sometimes we park them over at the Lowell housing. Sometimes we park them at the schools. So I'd rather have it in the neighborhood and on the road that extra 20 minutes to 40 minutes going through a neighborhood than sitting in another, in a parking garage. So that's why, and as Councilor Belanger brought up, if it doesn't work, I mean, the motion certainly does not want the city to go out and purchase more cruisers so this can happen. I'm just saying, if we have the cars, I see them sitting in the garages, I see them sitting in the lots, I'd rather have them in the neighborhood, and that's what we want. We want more visibility. If we can't hire more policemen, then I think the cars in the neighborhood are gonna be a deterrent. If you don't know if the officer's home at lunch, home for dinner, you don't know, but you know the car's there. And it could, could be the person could be on duty and they could not be, but you don't know that when you're coming up the street and you're getting ready to break into a car or a home. So that's what I'd like to explore. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no problem with the way the motion is worded, and I'll support it. I'd also be curious to find out how many actual officers we have living in the city. So hopefully that's also answered in the response. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next motion of the evening, Counsel Leahy. We have the city manager prepare a report outlining the use of private contracts as well as the use of city and private equipment for the 2014-2015 snow removal. In addition, explore a new strategy regarding snow removal in the downtown and the neighborhoods. Excuse me. Second by Councilor Kennedy. Council Leahy.
Thank you. Last year we had a tough year with snow. We had a lot of snow, but I think we could have done a better job to put it out there. I know the guys work hard. That when snow hits, I know they're out there for long hours. But last year I felt that we had too many incidents where we had on-street parking in the downtown area filled with snow. We had parking spaces, 5 sometimes on Merrimack Street to 10 that were filled with snow, and we basically were going to wait for the snow to melt. And I find that unacceptable. Last year, during one of the tough storms, I think the downtown, we chose to plow the schools and not the downtown. And I'm not questioning the calls, but I'm just saying that, maybe we should take a look at these different strategies, get some suggestions out in the neighborhoods. I don't know how many private pieces of equipment we have versus our city-owned equipment. But one thing that does kind of irk me, and maybe I don't understand it, but I see the Bobcats doing the sidewalks at the school, and then the plows come, and then the next day we get the Bobcats going back again. So we're just kind of, we're doing the job 2, sometimes 3 times. So I know we can find efficiencies there. So I just ask that we, if you could get a report from the DPD, ask them to kind of take a look at things. Maybe there's some things we can do differently, save money, same time, be more efficient. And, sometimes after being on the school committee, I know that, we'd be back at the schools 2 or 3 days later. And I just don't think sometimes there's a need for that. If it's done once and it's done right, then it's done. And I know that, the schools are done at the last minute after the storms, and the guys are tired, and it depends on the storm. Every storm's different, but I just ask again that we take a look at this and try to be more efficient, save some money, and stop going back, doing some of the schools twice. And as downtown, last year we just left too many parking spots full of snow, and that was unacceptable. So, and even when we do the city sidewalks, I don't know if we're responsible for the whole width, but we should be asking the store owners to help us out too. Maybe they can push some of the snow out to the street, and then it can be picked up more efficiently. But sometimes when we just have these skinny paths going down and you've got snow on the left, snow on the right, it just doesn't work. So if we could do that.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next motion of the evening by Councilor Leahy. City Manager explore possibility of using outside contract or service to fill the vacant position of traffic engineer. Second by Councilor Martin. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Through you, the manager, if we could just take a look at this. I know some communities are contracting services out for this. It may or may not work here in the city, but while the position's vacant, it's a good time. Nobody's losing a job, so might be something to explore. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Kennedy.
I think this is a pretty good motion. It's at least worth taking a look at. I think that, for instance, the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments, I think, provides engineering, traffic engineering services to several communities. And, I don't know what the workload is really for the traffic engineer in the city, but it might be something that could be done. I think the previous administration looked at the weights and measures and moving them over to the council of governments, and so maybe this is something that they could do, and we may end up saving some money, which could then be used for the backwater study. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think based upon council motions related to traffic and transportation, I think the traffic engineer is kept very busy in the city. I guess my question through you to the manager is, the position been posted at this point?
Yes, it has. I'm sorry, through
Mr. Manager?
through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it has. We received 4 applicants for the position. I just reviewed them today, and we'll be setting up interviews. But before we do that, we'll certainly look to see if it can be feasible to do it on a contract. I will, since I've been here, the traffic engineer has been one of the busier people in the city with different issues, but we'll certainly look into and see if we can get the same level of support for less money.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries as well. Next motion of the evening by Councilor Belanger. Request City Council approve a program which would allow 2 free weekends of parking, weekends being November 28th and 29th, and the weekend of December 19th and 20th in downtown garages. Second by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, as we all know, the holiday season is fast approaching, and I think it would be good, after speaking with merchants downtown, and I had a very lengthy meeting with with Parking Director Jim Troop and Assistant DPT Director Kevin Coughlin. We had a very lengthy discussion, and a productive one at that, on the parking scenario, and I think it would be helpful to merchants if we did, during the upcoming holiday season, if we offered a few free weekends in the garages to help cure this parking perception, is the word I'd like to use instead of problem, because there was plenty of parking downtown. And we need to familiarize that with customers and patrons that park in the garages. They're fairly inexpensive, they're clean, and they're safe. So one way in order to do that, perhaps get them acclimated, is to offer a couple of free weekends. And why not? The last weekend in November is typically a very busy weekend in the downtown. We have the City of Lights parade going on as well. Let this be an incentive for even more families, more consumers to come downtown thinking, okay, I can park in the garage for free, why not? As well as the weekend prior to Christmas, when, consumers are spending a lot of money. Let's try and capitalize and get them downtown. So I think it might help. It'll be a gauge, an experimental type thing, and I think it will benefit us. I really believe that. So I'm asking for, and I think I speak for all the merchants as well, for the support of my colleagues to offer a few free weekends in the garages only for nights, a couple of these weekend nights, and I think it will be very helpful. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion carries. Next motion of the evening by Council Belanger. Request city manager establish neighborhood crime watch throughout the city, including installation of proper signage along gateways. Second by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We know very sadly the problems in the city still persist. The violence somewhat calmed down, but we're still hearing reports of just random shootings going on throughout the city, and it's very upsetting to go to these public safety meetings and neighborhood groups and hear the officers talk as we talk to residents and they get input, is that when shots are heard so many times that none of the residents, they want to make sure they wait 15 to 20 minutes before they call in. Okay, that is not helping us at all. It's not helping them, not helping us. So we need the public's help. I think we're all in agreement with that. This has been a serious problem in many gateway cities like Lowell, seeing it throughout the Commonwealth. Mr. Mayor, I think you're aware of that. Again, we need help on the situation. We need help through citizens who are out there, and I know willing to participate in such a program and work with city officials like us. I think there'd be one in every block, so to speak, to be willing to engage in their city, work with city officials, to keep an eye out there for us. We need more eyes and ears out in the neighborhoods. Our offices cannot be everywhere. It is impossible. So we need the public's help, and I think this will be one way to go about it, where we can perhaps see what other cities and towns, models throughout the Commonwealth and the country, how they're working it, as well as signage throughout the city, especially the gateways. If you're coming off the connector or coming down 110 and you see Lowell has a neighborhood crime watch, you might think twice. Maybe not, but it certainly can't hurt. So let them know that we're working on this. We don't tolerate crime, and I think this would be a well-received program. I really do. If it was initiated by the manager and the council to ask residents to step up, I have no doubt residents would be perceptive. And again, we need all the help we can get, quite frankly. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Last motion of the evening by Council Belanger. Request City Council discuss potential parking ordinance changes and refer to Economic Development Subcommittee for further discussion. Second by Council Malinazzo. Council Belanger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This stems from, a few things, the Jeff Speck revisit to Lowell, and from the lengthy meeting that Jim Troop and Kevin Coughlin that we had. And Jim Troop came up with some really, really great ideas, what other cities in the Commonwealth are doing in the downtowns, very similar to Lowell, Salem, Haverhill, just to name a few, in that how, we have a parking department that's very well managed, and it runs in the black, and it makes money, and that's great. But no, I don't think any member of this council wants to see parking to create more as a revenue generator. We want to see customers in our downtown, and we don't want parking to be a deterrent. So, we have a plan now that works for the city. Now I think we need to focus on one that works for the merchants as well. So, and some very interesting ideas came up on the table where, maybe we need to enforce on Saturdays. I think we've all come to the conclusion that we need to enforce more hours into the evening and perhaps on Saturdays. Now, as we all know, downtown has become a neighborhood throughout the years, and we have many residents, and we are their representation as well. Residents have visitors and friends and family who come. And I'm sorry, but all too often, Too many cars end up in the street for too long a period of time. Merchants need turnover. Okay, somebody comes home on Friday at 5 o'clock and stays till Monday morning, that's not helping anybody. So that's just one avenue we looked at, as well as maybe perhaps advertising on kiosks and in garages for additional revenue. So many good ideas were brought throughout the table, and I would just like to see this referred to the Economic Development Subcommittee for more discussion, as well as all the stakeholders' input as well, because I think we need some changes. The status quo is not going to help. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'd like everything looked at, and we will certainly have public hearings in the subcommittee so business and residents can chime in as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Linazzo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a very good motion, and I think it does belong in the Economic Development Subcommittee. I think if we start looking at our parking ordinance as an economic development tool or a management tool, I think we'll go a long way to really accomplish some of what Councilor Belanger is talking about. So I think it does belong in the Economic Development Subcommittee, and I will support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. Having no further business before the council tonight, entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilor Leahy, second by Councilor Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, that motion carries. This meeting stands adjourned.